বন্দে গুরন ঈশভক্তান ঈশাবতারকান তৎপ্রকাশংশ্চ তৎশক্তিং Sri Krishna Caitanya Sankaka. I am reading from a book called the Caitanya Caritamrita. And the manuscript I am holding right now is almost as old as the United States of America. What is the relevance of this book in the US today? At a time when we see that a pandemic has defeated the will of people to thrive rather than just survive, in a world where the Ukraine-Russian war is affecting the lives of each and every living being on this planet one way or another, there is a dire need to understand what is love in its highest perfection. And this is what this book is about. As a scholar of world's religions who have studied mysticism for more than 20-25 years now, I can say this, that the revolution of the heart described in this book has already time and again changed the nature of this planet. In the 15th and early 16th century, Sri Krishna Caitanya Mahaprabhu, on whose life this biography is written, transformed the face of northern India when the politics between the Delhi Sultanate, the Shahi government of Bengal, and the Gajapati government of Orissa made life unbearable for people. And as an antidote to the war, to the famine, to the pestilence that came during that time, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu showed that love is the way. And the highest form of its expression is the singing of the names of the two divine lovers, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. This book was almost lost from the great collections of the library of this world because in those days, as you notice, they used to handwrite everything, and there were only 3 original copies. And while they were being transported, a corrupt king and his band of looters heard of a great treasure that was on its way from the northern Indian town of Vrindavan to the eastern Indian town of Navadip. And they looted it, thinking it to be something else other than books. And it was due to the masterful expertise of one of the worshippers of this book that it was recovered and copied in hundreds to be spread across the community of those who really wanted to transform this world with the power of love. And this was in the early 1600s. By the mid 1800s, when the Mughal period in India was over and the British came in, print technology was still not a very integral part of Indian culture. Books were still copied by hand. And one savant, a stalwart, a great leader of the Vaishnava movement, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, recovered a copy of this book and reprinted it. And today, fortunately or unfortunately, only 2 good editions exist for English-speaking audiences. One was printed by Harvard, which is meant mostly for scholars and is very technical, and the other was translated by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, in 17 volumes for the common person on the street. Because all these teachers that I spoke about today really wanted to get the message of how real love works in the hands of millions of people, especially in America. It is important that we take time out to share, to read, to understand the core message and follow the examples of this book. The word Caitanya means consciousness. It means when we are doing anything, whether we are eating, whether we are sleeping, whether we are talking to others, we are in a particular state of mind. And whenever we engage with other people, the state of mind that we are in is what we communicate with the other person. So no matter how much, say, I'm trying to be calm, if I'm anxious, then I will be communicating that anxiety to the person that I'm speaking with. No matter how hard I'm trying to hide, if I am angry, I will communicate that anger. And once those negative emotions are communicated, then they start getting into a cycle which is perpetuating in this world and creating such large-scale conflicts. So that is consciousness. And these negative emotions, negative states of consciousness happens because we identify with what dies. Mrit means earth, or Mrit also means what dies. Amrit, on the other hand, means whatever is immortal. And Charita means nature or character. So the nature of awareness, when it experiences immortality, is when it is able to truly offer love and receive love in its perfection. And that is the name of the title of the book, Caitanya Charita Amrita. It is also the Charita, the story, which is immortal, Amrita of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In this way, the Chaitanya Charitamrita is a book on the living example of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, on how love transforms everything, and how one is able to love when they are no longer in Mrita consciousness, in death consciousness, that we see so much in the wars that are going on today, and come to the level of Amrita consciousness or immortal consciousness, ambrosial consciousness, nectarine consciousness. So Chaitanya Charitamrita is a very relevant book for Americans today, for people around the world today. This book has been very carefully preserved by generations of dedicated followers, from wars, from libraries being burned down, and it is indeed a very rare fortune that we have the knowledge of this book available to us today. And I thank you for your time and for listening in, and I humbly request that you get a copy of this book and read it. This book, I must mention, is best read under the guidance of a personal teacher because the topics are quite complex, but once you get it, when you study it with a teacher, you will see how simple and sublime this thing is. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.